good friends, welcome new subscribers. I'm Brian from Apex Detail. Our last video we had the Menzerna 400 out on the test panel for our cutting compound series, and I believe it fits in right about here, the lower tier of the honorable mention section. However, to best gauge the compound, we're going to take it out and do some real world work. I value your time as much as mine. I have everything set up. Let's get out there right away. All right, our subject here is set up and ready to go. It has heavy scratch damage from a car wash. They're all straight lines from the front all the way back to the rear of the vehicle. We're going to take care of the cutting part of the correction with the Menzerna 400. I have the shop light set up so I can show you the uniform damage that is running all the way through the length of this Range Rover here. The Menzerna, formerly FG or Fast Gloss 400, has ultra-fine abrasives to take care of 1200 grit sand marks and higher, and have the ability to finish down like a polish. I have a bunch of pads laying out. We're going to try different pads, different tools, different methods to remove the damage using the Menzerna 400. This here is an excellent part of the vehicle to start our testing. This is where the wraps from the car wash really squeeze the vehicle as it starts to go through. And we're going to mask a little section of the fender off, and we're going to team the Menzerna 400 up with our Flex PE8 Rotary and a Lake Country low lint wool pad. This is a natural wool pad. It's been pre-washed, it's low nap, and it's one of my favorite pads right now to cut. This pad will fit and work on a Rotary, any size, a long throw polisher, a Flex 3401 or Melee, which is force driven, and will work on a 15 millimeter and 21 millimeter polisher. This pad here is right out of the package, brand new, so it's important to prime it. I'll massage some of the 400 deep into the base of the pad, add a little bit more product, and we're going to get going here. I have a dedicated video for the low lint pads, so I'm not going to really give too many close-ups or give a ton of details. We'll get to them. When I'm cutting with the Rotary, I'm going to have it at mid-speed, which is the third speed setting for this polisher here. I have some moderate pressure, especially on the first pass, taking advantage of those abrasives as they start to wear down and break down. And then I'll just lighten up pressure in following passes. Okay, I'm going to stop right here and check my work, and to do that, I'm going to use a cleaner polish. This is just a very thin cleaner polish with fine abrasives that I can sort of polish away the haze or the overall cloudiness that this aggressive wool pad left behind, so I can see where I stand when it comes to the deep scratches or the deep damage throughout the fender here. Just takes a little bit of the product on an application pad. I'll massage it in and wipe it off with a microfiber, and we can take a look at our progress. Much better. Now we can see where we're at. Let me grab the camera, bring you guys in close, and we can see what the Menzerna 400 has done for us so far. More than likely, it will take 2 passes, maybe even 3. This is not bad so far, but you'll be able to see there are some scratches that remain. We are going to have to take a second pass with the pad. Some of our top tier compounds, we may be able to get away with 1 pass. This one doesn't have quite the aggression as some of those top compounds, so, 2 or 3 passes will do it. Not a real big deal, but when you have a big job like this, it's going to take me quite some time to get around this whole vehicle. This damage goes throughout the front to the back of the vehicle and the roof as well. So when I add another pass or 2 on top of what I have to do here, that really piles up the time and really exceeds the budget we have for this job. Okay, I went ahead and corrected or did the cutting process of the entire clip of the rover here, and I'll take you around, show you the difference. A huge turnaround. It did take 2, sometimes 3 passes at spots to get the cutting done, where with some of the compounds that I have, it would only take me 1 pass, 2 tops. That said, very impressive for a product that's geared towards or leaned towards being a one-step polish, one-step compound slash polish. So if you're just starting out and you just want one product to get everything done and just team up a pad with it, this could be the one. I left the contrast between the fender and the door so you could see the difference. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut both doors, and we're going to head back to the back quarter panel. That's where we're going to pick a different polisher and a different pad, and we're going to test back here. I pulled out a 15mm dual action polisher. We got a Lake Country microfiber cutting pad attached to it. Let's see what work we can get done back here. I don't like editing too much, but I am going to speed it up a little bit here. I do want to chew my gum a little bit faster and shorten the video. Also, I'll bring you in close. I want you to see the residue turns clear as you're working it. Helps you see your progress, where you're going, where you've been. The residue itself is easy to remove. The product is user-friendly. It does dust a little bit. I'll give you an example here. You may want to mask off corners, places where if dust gets in, it's hard to get out. Or you're just going to have to give it a thorough wash before you move on to the next step. Okay, the compound is just about spent. Let me remove the residue. I'll get rid of the masking tape. Give me a second or two to come around back, grab the camera, bring you guys in close, and we'll see what we've been able to do with the Menzerna 400 with just a dual action polisher and a microfiber cutting pad. All right, so as we can see, just like with the process on the front fender with the rotary and wool pad, we're going to have to make a second or third pass using the dual action polisher and microfiber cutting pad. Again, it did a lot of work. I can't complain with the damage that it has removed, but we still have some deeper scratches we want to go after. There is still room to correct here. And it's another thing I want to emphasize with you guys, just new guys getting into the business. You want to find a balance as you gain experience. And what I mean by that is you want to be able to correct, yet leave behind a substantial amount of clear coat so it can keep protecting that gorgeous color underneath. And that's the balance you're going to have to find on your own. It's something that can't be taught. You have to be able to make those scratches, swirls, blemishes look good, yet leave behind a lot of clear coat to protect that car, especially if the customer is going to keep it for years to come. All right, so we have the whole passenger side of the Rover here cut. Let's hop back to one more little test section with yet another tool. We're going to go pneumatic here, a little 3-inch with a 3-inch wool pad. And this area back here is heavily scratched, just like the rest of the car, maybe even more so. Now, getting back to that balance. When I was younger, just got into it and thought I had something to prove, I would go after just about every scratch I would see. Not really concerned about how far that clear coat was going down, and that was a mistake I was making. I was listening to my head and my ego and sometimes my customer and not the car, which means if the car could talk, it would thank me nowadays for leaving enough clear coat behind to protect and not taking it down to 0.5 mil and just dangerous levels. Now, I did mention the word ego, and let me touch upon that word just for a brief moment, and I may even make an entire video if some of the stuff I see on social media keeps rubbing me the wrong way. Some of you younger guys, check your egos at the door. In the grand scheme of things, there are still kids walking around with cancer. And you know what we do? We shine, we make things look glossy, we may put a protective coating or a sealant. But when you talk about where our place is in the universe, it's not very important. So just keep your egos checked for a little bit. And that's all I have to say about that for now. So as I wipe off the residue, we can come in and take a look. Just the cutting part alone, we made a huge difference. I'll show you the progress. All right, hang on, let me get an angle using my unforgiving shot blade here. I don't want to do a 50-50 and start backing away as we're taking a look at it. You can see a huge difference, but there is cloudiness. The wool pad will leave behind some hazing and just overall cloudiness to be removed later. We're going to take care of that in the next video. We want to get in between the letters. So we're still going to keep using the Menzerna 400. We'll just switch over to the nano polisher here and get in between the letters back here on the gate. Connected to the little hook and loop backing plate on the nano polisher is a tiny microfiber cutting pad. There are all types of pads for this: microfiber, foam, cutting, polishing. This is the setup here. I do have a dedicated video. If I remember, I'll put a link up on top of the screen here so you can go to that. A very helpful polisher for these areas, also polishing hard to reach interior and exterior surfaces. Okay, it took a little time, even though it's a small area, but we now have half of the rear gate cut and ready to go for the next step. And I can show you the difference, a huge difference. The Menzerna 400, again, it's impressive for what it can do, especially for what it's been formulated for. Okay, so after some real-world work, some corrections, we're going to keep the Menzerna 400 right where it is, near the bottom tier of the honorable mention section, which really isn't that bad after all the compounds we've tested so far. Something I did differently this time, I didn't show you the video of the completed job for a reason. I'm going to take you with for the rest of the journey of this correction and protection. We're going to jump from the cutting process here to finishing up, protection, and a topper, and we're going to do that with CarPro Essence, CarPro C Quartz coating, and CarPro Reload. I will see you guys in the next video. We're going to keep this going. Have a good evening, guys.